He's a guy that's coming up, trying to prove himself. He's been calling my name for years.
If rematch don't, you know what I'm saying, happen, we gonna run it.
Gotcha. The reason why I say this fight needs to happen again because both fighters have something to prove. I just saw a tweet from Gervonta Davis saying that he was going to activate the rematch.
The long-awaited Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach rematch is officially on, and the bad blood just spilled over in explosive fashion. During a tense live interview, Davis snapped at his rival, eyes burning with vengeance. "This ain't personal, it's just boxing," Tank growled, though his body language told a different story. The champion made one thing crystal clear: he's coming to erase the stain of their controversial first meeting with violent authority.
If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it, but after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye.
June 21st in Las Vegas could mark Lamont Roach's date with destiny. The hungry challenger has been pounding the table for this rematch, recognizing it as his golden opportunity to shock the world twice. "This is my chance to prove the first fight wasn't a fluke," Roach told media. The MGM Grand is already buzzing about what promises to be one of 2024's most electrifying showdowns, a high-stakes collision between a champion out for redemption and an underdog fighting for validation.
So the Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach rematch is being targeted for June 21st in Las Vegas. Now, it's good that they're running it back without wasting any time, because Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. I mean, I thought he outboxed Tank the last time around. He came up a division as a gigantic 10-1 underdog. And he was the one on the front foot, landing his jab, the body shots, the combinations, throwing a lot more volume. I had it 7-5 Roach, and the no knockdown in round 9 was the reason it was a draw. If that knockdown was scored, that would have been a decision for Roach. But with all that being said, I do like Tank a lot more in the rematch. I thought he fought way too much on the back foot in the first fight, especially the first few rounds. He would land 1 or 2 punches per round. But as he started becoming the aggressor in the later rounds, he kept landing a lot more left hands and body shots. So Tank just needs to make this a dogfight, get into more exchanges, and that's where he'll land a lot more punches on Roach. When he's sitting on the back foot waiting for a counter, that's where Roach is comfortable and winning most of the rounds. So if Tank can fight the same way he did against Ryan Garcia, rounds 3 to 7, against Mario Barrios in the later rounds, or Frank Martin rounds 4 to 8, if he's the one on the front foot, then I do think he'll stop Roach in the rematch.
Roach has drawn a hard line in the sand. Referee Steve Willis must not officiate the rematch. The controversy over Willis's failure to count Davis's 9th round knee in their first fight continues reverberating through boxing circles. "That wasn't judgment, that was robbery," argued one prominent analyst, echoing widespread sentiment that the missed call potentially altered boxing history. With the Nevada Commission now facing pressure to assign a new referee, this rematch's legitimacy may hinge on ensuring no repeat of the first fight's officiating controversy.
The part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own, that was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But 2 is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it, but after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you can see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
but you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever, see, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye, spit fucking around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref. Can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops is a no?
Hell no.
Like, fuck that nigga.
Yeah. You know how many Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fight up though. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like, who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating like that, but like, he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. Right. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
The phantom knee heard round the boxing world continues haunting this rivalry. When Davis took that controversial knee in their first bout ruled a defensive move rather than a knockdown, it became the fight's defining controversy. That was a 10-8 round we'll never get back, Roach's trainer lamented, echoing widespread sentiment that the referee's non-call potentially stole the fight. Now, as the rematch looms, this unfinished business has transformed what could have been a routine title defense into must-see boxing theater. Roach proved he belongs in Davis's league. The sequel will determine who truly deserves the throne.
Grease in your hair tonight, Tank. That is it. Lamont, please say that in the second fight. Any questions? You got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? Like, you got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? Like, hey, bruh, be on that. Because here's the thing. He never hurt Roach. Roach just waited. And Roach was squared up and turned sideways. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't think he had that. He was like, I'm like, oh my. And then he just sitting there like, you can't. I know what you're going to do because I've trained with you since we were kids. Tarver beat Roy, but he knew Roy since amateurs. Roy said he never liked fighting sparring partners because they know you so well. I should have listened to.
Tank Davis isn't just accepting the rematch, he's demanding it. Sources close to the champion reveal he's targeting May for the do-over, treating this less like another fight and more like a personal redemption arc. That controversial draw didn't just stain Davis's perfect record, it cracked his aura of invincibility. Now, boxing's most avoided knockout artist finds himself in unfamiliar territory, having to prove himself all over again. Tank knows the doubters are louder than ever, an insider shared. He wants to silence them in the most violent way possible.
We gotta talk about it. So, Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against a Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else, and that is the hairstylist situation. My humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there's nothing for you to say. There was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing is going to look at that like, I don't want to break my hair. No one would say that. But she hurt herself and she came out in public and made multiple claims. All his receipts that no one needed and asked for, saying, oh, this had no race or order. Who cares? A lot of people believe it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? Let me know.
Lamont Roach didn't just surprise the boxing world against Davis, he rewrote his entire narrative. Pre-fight, analysts like Stephen A. Smith openly questioned whether Roach belonged in the same ring. Post-fight? I owe Lamont an apology, Smith admitted on air. Roach's masterclass in high-pressure boxing, walking through fire against one of the sport's most dangerous punchers, transformed him from just another opponent to must-see TV. The boxing world slept on Roach before, now they're setting alarms for his next appearance.
I expected to see a knockout. I expected to see it come at the hands of Gervonta Tank Davis against a dude that I thought was undersized, that I thought was not on the same level. And my God, was I wrong. So I thought it was apropos that on this particular day, more than a week after Lamont Roach showed up at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York and let everybody know, yo, I'm no joke either. Y'all don't know who the hell I am. I'm here to reintroduce him to the world. A guy that many believe should be the lightweight champion of the world in the sport of boxing, the one and only Lamont.
While the rematch seems inevitable, Davis's team is playing chess, not checkers. Yes, Tank wants the Roach sequel, but not necessarily next. With multiple lucrative options on the table, including potential super fights at higher weight classes, Davis may make Roach wait while he explores bigger paydays. But here's the rub, fans are rabid for the rematch now, and boxing's new era has shown that fan demand often overrides traditional scheduling. One promoter put it bluntly, this isn't 1990s boxing. When the people want something this bad, it usually happens.
Rematch, that next game, what do you do that you didn't do the first time? Is that a valid question?
Well, I don't know if he pitched a shutout, but he definitely fought a
perfect game.
Perfect fight for him, for that fight, right? So above and beyond what we've ever seen from him, something that people who knew him and knew him personally knew that he has that in him, but being able to do it on the big stage underneath those lights, that's a whole different thing. He was able to do it. You know, it was packed in there. It was 19,000. I was in the room. I mean, they were literally booing him when he was on the Megatron above the ring. You know, so for him to walk into hostile territory, perform the way that he performed from beginning to end, I mean, I tip my hat. It was amazing. But in terms of pitching a shutout, I don't agree. It was a very, very close fight.
No, but what I mean by that is the perfect fight. Can he elevate from that?
Yeah. No, I absolutely understand. So in terms of can he elevate his performance? Yes and no. I don't think he can do anything that he was once he really found his rhythm better, because I think that was literally his catch and shoot, his rolling, his ability to catch those punches, his mindset when he did get touched, his ability to walk through. But I think he could be a little smarter in the way that he cuts off the quadrants of a 12-rounder. Understanding what a 12-rounder and how to fight a 12-rounder is a skill that takes time. You have to go 12 a bunch of times. You have to be world-class guys. Being able to be a little busier for early on to make sure that you understand that you are the B-side. You need to make sure these judges absolutely know without a doubt in their mind that you won that round. Being a little more aggressive early on, letting the hands go a little earlier. Putting the exclamation on the points in the early rounds the way they did it the later rounds, I think will make a big difference in how he could actually improve on what he did.
The million-dollar question, how does Lamont Roach improve on what many considered a near-flawless performance against Tank Davis? Let's be clear, while not a complete shutout, Roach fought the perfect tactical fight for his skill set that night. Those who've trained with him knew this version existed, but executing it under the bright lights against an elite champion? That's a different beast entirely. Picture this, 19,000 hostile fans, the arena literally booing his face on the Jumbotron, yet Roach never blinked. His rhythm, his catch and counter precision, his composure when hit, it was masterclass material. But here's where he can level up, early round urgency. Understanding that as the B-side, you can't leave rounds to interpretation. More activity in those first 4 frames, cutting off the ring smarter, putting exclamation points on dominant rounds. These subtle adjustments could turn a controversial draw into a definitive victory next time.
The team right back. I'm believing him. I didn't see him hurt or anything like that. I get that part. I saw him hurt when he got popped with a counter from Lamont Roach and he stumbled backwards because he got hit with a shot while throwing a punch in an earlier round. So I'm certainly not going to do that. Here's the important point to mention. All of us got to stand down and give Lamont Roach an apology. I thought that brother was going to get beat down because I saw a dude that was a bantamweight champion. I said, why are you moving up to fight this guy? Why is Gervonta Davis taking this fight? This guy's too small. What the hell is going on? He was a featherweight champion. You're a lightweight. What the hell is going on? Why would you take that fight? I didn't understand it. What I didn't know is that once Lamont Roach stepped into the ring, he would be the bigger fighter. What I didn't know is that once he was in the ring and he looked like the bigger fighter, he fought like the bigger fighter because, ladies and gentlemen, from opening bell, he walked right to Gervonta Davis. Walked right to him and stayed in his face all night long. If he backed up at all, ladies and gentlemen, it was 5% of the time.
Make no mistake, the rematch is coming. Tank's publicly demanded it, fans are clamoring for it, and the unfinished business practically guarantees it. But here's the wrinkle, Davis's team might make Roach wait. With other big money options potentially available, Tank could take an interim fight to rebuild his aura before running it back. It's the classic boxing chess move, make the hungry challenger marinate while the champion resets the narrative.
Wilding like usual, right? Yeah. And the rematch, he'll be able to prove himself. I don't really believe there was a reason to call out a knockdown if you don't call Roach's shit a knockdown as well. They both was on the knee, pause. They both took a knee. So cancel each other's out. It's either both are knockdowns or none. And neither are. So what we talking?
No, they definitely hate Tank. That part is a fact.
Nah,
I don't. I'm saying
I'm not
in
saying
general.
Us.
In general.
I'm just saying like couldn't wait.
He got to Mayweather level where people hate him.
When you do well enough, people do look for you to.
Yeah,
that's
good. Success breeds that. When you
that's a fact.
Either they love you or they hate you. There's no in between. It's no longer indifferent for you because everyone knows you.
Trainer Bernie Davis dropped truth bombs about where Roach must evolve. We saw brilliance, but also hesitation. While praising his fighter's historic performance, the veteran coach highlighted critical moments where Roach's calculated approach bordered on overcautious. The prescription? More calculated aggression, especially early. When you're fighting the champ in his backyard, you can't leave doubt in the judges' minds, Bernie stressed. This rematch preparation isn't about reinventing Roach, it's about weaponizing the lessons from their first war.
You know, but he did good. Lamont Roach, but only thing, like I say, if he gonna go back and wish he threw his hands more, he might start getting mad at himself and realize that he when he watches the fight, it feel good to hear everybody say that, but when you go watch the fight and you realize, I let him slide too much. Like even the last round, he's standing there posing, looking at the man like, and then he got caught with a jab. That wasn't good.
So, you know, you talked about the takeaways of how Lamont could be better in the rematch.
Joe Rogan sparked fresh debate about the fight's most controversial moment when he dissected Davis's 9th-round knee on his podcast. When a fighter voluntarily takes a knee, that's a knockdown, period, the UFC commentator declared. Rogan's analysis added fuel to the fire surrounding referee Steve Willis's disputed call, with many now questioning whether the official's hesitation cost Roach a rightful victory. The incident has become boxing's latest Rorschach test. Was it a legitimate defensive move or gamesmanship that should have been penalized?
It was trash.
Well, I thought it was a good fight. You didn't think
great fight, but I just champion guy taking a knee, talking about greasing his hair.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm like, yo, how you just in the middle of the fight just go wipe your face?
Also, here's the deal. If you take a knee, that's a knockdown.
That's a knockdown. Subtract 2, right?
You got hit with a jab.
Yeah.
You took a knee.
And then you walked off.
Exactly. That is a knockdown.
Yeah.
So I think they're reviewing that right now.
No, that guy should have lost maybe.
Well, I feel like if they do review it and they do judge it as a knockdown, which it was clearly a knockdown to everybody. You take a knee, that's a knockdown. I think they will probably give it to Lamont.
This is a very interesting rule. They have a power slap that kind of talks about what you guys are just discussing.
The boxing intelligentsia is increasingly convinced Roach holds the key to victory in a potential rematch. He cracked the code in that first fight, noted one veteran analyst. Roach's ability to exploit defensive lapses in Davis's game, particularly his vulnerability to sustained body attacks, has experts believing the underdog could turn controversial draw into clear-cut victory with slightly sharper execution second time around.
Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach is staying as a draw, which is bullshit because Gervonta Davis obviously took a knee and it should have been counted as a knockdown, but it wasn't. But this just means that Lamont Roach is going to take Gervonta Davis in the rematch, unless Gervonta Davis ducks the rematch with Lamont Roach because he knows he's going to get his ass whooped once again.
If I get touched, I'm coming on that ass.
Davis's camp maintains they won't be making wholesale changes despite the first fight struggles. We knew exactly what Roach brought to the table, his trainer revealed, suggesting their original game plan was sound but poorly implemented. This stubbornness could play into Roach's hands if Davis comes in with the same approach. His opponent already has the blueprint to neutralize it. The real question is whether Team Davis is playing mind games or genuinely believes minor tweaks will suffice.
Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, that they don't exist. There's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Speaking of rematches, Jalil Hackett is getting his opportunity again to fight the guy that he had a controversial loss to. It'll be happening in Florida, I think, next week?
March 15th, I think.
Let's talk about
I'm rocking a major shirt now.
Major.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how's that rematch look like, and then what's the difference makers coming into this fight?
The first fight, I thought, everybody thought Jalil won. We just got to turn, hit the gears a little harder. We ain't really got to change too much. Just got to put the icing on. on the cake, you know. Put the icing on the cake this time. That's all. He did enough to win the last fight, but we was in somebody else's territory, you know.
This time around, being in Florida, do you feel like it's a mutual zone?
Yeah. It's more of an even playing field in Florida.
Okay. Do you feel like he needs a stoppage to win the fight due to what happened the first time?
Not necessarily a stoppage. A stoppage is good, but not necessarily.
Showbiz the Adult offered a fascinating tactical analysis of the knee incident, framing it as a veteran move rather than a moment of weakness. That was a calculated reset, not desperation, he argued, suggesting Davis intentionally halted Roach's building momentum after absorbing clean shots. This interpretation paints Davis as a cunning strategist rather than a hurt fighter, though critics counter it's just excusing what should have been scored a knockdown.
Gervonta doing this shows that it wasn't an outside strange occurrence, that it may just be a part of his DNA. For him to get hit in amateurs and then take a step back and take a knee when he obviously wasn't hurt, it just shows to me that instead of gritting it out, all right, and possibly get knocked out or taking those chances, he'd rather take a knee to disrupt the momentum and then start over. That's how I'm taking it. It can be a great strategy, or it can be the bully complex. That when you meet somebody and they're not fearing you, or they're not retreating or backing away from you, and they're showing poise and the ability to withstand your output and give some back, like any book, they kind of unravel.
The first fight's inconclusive ending has set the stage for a must-see rematch. For Davis, it's a chance to prove the draw was an off night. For Roach, an opportunity to convert moral victory into official triumph. With both men's legacies on the line, the sequel promises higher stakes, sharper drama, and hopefully, definitive resolution to all the first fight's unanswered questions.
The reason why I say this fight needs to happen again because both fighters have something to prove. I just saw a tweet from Gervonta Davis saying that he was going to activate the rematch. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Would I like to see this fight happen? Yes, I would like to see a fight happen again because I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better. And I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for putting up such a amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there toe-to-toe with Gervonta Davis. We never seen anyone there throwing punches, power punches, at Tank Davis and not being knocked out. And I also want to commend Tank because Tank didn't have to take this.
That wraps our deep dive into boxing's hottest rivalry. The countdown to the rematch starts now. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss round 2 of this developing story. Until next time, keep those opinions coming and your guard up.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.